Welcome, Virgo, to your love reading for the next few days, May 14th to the 17th of 2020. So, here, this is very specific for, say, a few different people, but it will relate to a lot of you out there. Now, I broke these down into different sections, and we're going to start overall. Overall theme is the Six of Wands, and I feel like that goes right with the Oracle cards of surprise, and that is now enemy and surprise in the same position. I feel that the next few days or in some time that you might even feel like you have been either in love, or sometimes I can say maybe a little bit obsessive about someone in a romantic way or maybe in a sexual way, but you didn't realize this person had some other things going on with them. And when enemy comes through in that way, it is in the form of deception sometimes. So this is a reading to just be cautious about who you open up to in a physical way, who you might be drawn to sexually, because this is a time I feel of spiritual realizations, and that there are entities and people who disguise themselves as having good intentions, and sometimes we don't realize it until we take time to detach and allow that void to bring in some spiritual understanding. So when the Six of Wands is coming through, that is feeling confident, it is feeling good, it's having a lot of admirers, or even one person specifically, but having them drawn to you and vice versa. But there is the energy of victory, so I feel like you'll be feeling good this week. But beware of the Knave of Chalices or the Page of Cups coming through. That's your emotions, and when that's coming through, you're feeling good, you're feeling happy, but it's also an energy of being naive. Now, sometimes this is a good news coming through, like you're wanting to send news out to somebody, you wanting to be around somebody, you want to offer a person a relationship, like your emotions are, you just maybe feel these passions come through. So it's like going out to hang out or wanting to get closer to somebody, but be aware that that person that's coming towards you, they seem to be holding back. If you see the Page of Cups and that person with the Four of Pentacles, that's like them not really acknowledging you, and the Ace of Swords is them telling you they're not either not really wanting to open up, or say if they open up and then they hide or they go into hiding or sometime. That's the energy of being ghosted. That's why that theme comes out, and I feel like that's the enemy kind of energy. Somebody that has an ulterior motive or have energies to open up and then kind of ignore you when it's convenient for them. So just be aware of that energy. I don't want to have this as a very dark reading, but being honest with you is the healthiest thing for anybody in a spiritual kind of pursuit or understanding when it comes to a love life understanding or overstanding. I like that word better, and I'm going to use that more often. And so I feel like the person is telling you the truth. Now, if truth comes through, if they tell you that they're not ready, or if they're telling you that now a person can tell you, I want to be in a relationship, or I want to get to know you. That may be their honest feelings, but it's for you to understand whether or not they overstand, whether or not they are ready for that commitment, if they're available for that commitment, if they're stable enough emotionally or in different areas to be open to you or be ready for you. And that might not be the right time, because your response is the Three of Swords in reverse. So for some, this is like being open to an ex-partner where you know you need to move on from that person, but you still are open to that connection. But then it's still an energy of needing to heal from a previous connection that you've had before you are to jump into something that's a bit too risky, and getting attached to somebody and having that depth of emotions. It can take over you sometimes, and you might not be ready for that. So take things slow. If anything, take your time to get to know someone, be a bit more playful, one step at a time as you get to know somebody. The alarm that went off for me here was in the position of your vice, and that was the Hierophant and the Devil. Those are so many different things that came to you when I was looking at this, and this is the energy of being either sexually involved or having that kind of intensity to connect with someone in that on that level, but it not being in a healthy way. So sometimes it's often unprotected. Sometimes it's being getting pregnant by someone. I tell people in the spiritual sense that in 2020, a lot of people are going to realize that there are extraterrestrials on the planet that comes and they come to Earth, but they may not look. They come in the form of being in disguise. Sometimes looking like humans or looking like different energies, but you won't recognize that until you take some time to understand what's going on. And you have that's like having an epiphany. So if you say, for instance, if you are to connect with someone, say you're connected to a superstar or someone that's in a romantic way or has a high profile sometimes, and you want to connect to that person, and if you do in a sexual way, say you're having intercourse with that person, and then there's a pregnancy happening, that can be a hybrid or a child that is human and extraterrestrial or alien, and then you have that kind of energy going on. That's something that's real. That's something that's happening, whether people believe that or not. That's something that psychically came to me through a spiritual realization. So be careful with that. Also, with the Hierophant and the devil, that's sometimes the fear of what the family might think, the fear of your religious beliefs in someone else. So sometimes staying away from somebody because you feel like other people will attack you, or there will be drama, something like that, if you were to get closer to someone else. And also be careful of getting close to somebody that's already married or in a relationship. And this is a process of healing, I feel, for some of you. So it's your beliefs, it's your moral compass, and what you feel is right, and staying away. Now, when I mentioned the enemy, the devil, that energy. Now, before in my readings, I mentioned how it's the energy of it is an energy, and it can sometimes be very dark. But Satan, the devil, Lucifer, those energies are the deep down, the dark sides, the demonic kind of things that can attach to you if you were to attach to people in numerous ways, like going out on a sexual spree, too much into pornography or into it at all, and you kind of dive into it. It can take over you at times. So be aware of those kind of things, because you can, being open up to demonic possession and things like that can happen if you're too close to someone that is not healthy for you. Be aware of that, all right? So that's the advice in that position. Be aware. And put out a prayer, put out positive affirmations depending on what you believe in, and know that they're in this world right now. There are a lot of people that are willing to deceive because they the insecurity is there. They lack a lot of power, and sometimes this as well, people that are in cults, and a lot of people that may be listening to this, you might be into this right now, and it's not me of having a judgment against you, but just be aware of these things when you're giving your heart or being open to someone emotionally, because that attachment that you have to someone, it could take a long time in a lifetime sometimes to understand what you've been through with someone. So that's why the Two of Cups is showing up in the outcome. That's a card I believe that came up for somebody I did recently reading, and that is the energy of unconditional love in the basic terms, but it is just overstanding things, looking at things from a different perspective, being willing to look at someone in their eyes. And they say the eyes are you can figure out a lot of answer from the eyes, the soul, looking into it deeply and seeing if someone is going to be very truthful or honest with you. And that does take time to realize that sometimes people hide. They turn their eyes away, or they may look down, or they may not even want to see you or meet you or be around you because there's something else going on. And that's something for you to gather. All right. Now, sometimes for some of you as well, you may have some spiritual abilities that you're realizing as well. You may be very happy with that. And a lot of spiritual people or other entities, they realize these things, so they may want to be around you and bother you at times to throw you off. But just take your time this week. Be happy. Be lighthearted about what's been mentioned here. But I feel overall that just to be aware of someone that you're getting close to, being in disguise and having those intentions. Okay, so that's going to be a reading. A little longer, I believe, than the other ones right now, but I have to say what's needed to be said. So, much love, much light, and you can always get a personal private reading if you would like to from the description of the video. Have a good one.